Rain poured steadily outside as New York City buzzed with life. Inside a warm, crowded café, Emma sat tucked into a corner, her laptop open but her mind exhausted. A grad student buried in debt and deadlines, she was barely keeping up, working 2 part-time jobs just to afford her next semester. Her coffee sat cooling beside her, forgotten amid her thoughts. The café was packed, every chair taken, people scanning for empty spots like hawks. Then, a man approached her table. He looked tired, drenched from the rain, coat slightly wrinkled, holding a dripping umbrella and a paper bag that had clearly seen better weather. His voice was gentle but hesitant. "Do you mind if I sit here?" Emma glanced up and instinctively smiled. "Sure, go ahead." He gave a quiet thanks and sat across from her, careful not to let his umbrella drip too much. They said nothing at first, just 2 strangers sharing space in the middle of the city's noise. The soft hum of conversations, clinking cups, and steaming espresso machines surrounded them like a blanket. Emma returned to her laptop, while the man opened his paper bag slowly. There was something peaceful in that moment, 2 people connected not by words, but by something quieter. Kindness. She had no idea who he really was, no clue what that moment would come to mean. She just saw someone in need of a seat, and made room, without thinking twice. A few minutes passed in silence before the man reached into his bag and pulled out a slightly squished blueberry muffin. He held it out to Emma with a soft smile. "Would you like half?" "They gave me 2 by mistake." Emma chuckled and accepted it, breaking it in 2. "Thanks. I skipped breakfast, so this is perfect." That simple gesture opened the door. They began talking. He introduced himself as Michael, said he was visiting New York for work, though he didn't go into much detail. He seemed humble, almost reluctant to speak about himself. Emma didn't press. She shared her own story easily. How she was studying education. How tuition was suffocating. How she worked nights at a bookstore and weekends as a nanny. Her dream? To become a teacher and change lives the way her 5th-grade teacher once did for her. Michael listened quietly, nodding, absorbing every word. Then he said, "I have a daughter. She's 6. Smart as anything. I'm raising her alone. I try to show her that kindness still matters, even when the world feels like it's moving too fast." Emma's face softened. There was something in his voice, tired but warm, like he had learned everything the hard way. They talked more, about childhood books, favorite movies, even how good coffee could feel like a hug on a hard day. For 2 strangers, it felt oddly natural. As if the chaos outside had faded and time slowed, just for them. The rain had softened into a drizzle by the time Michael glanced at his watch and suddenly stood. "I'm so sorry. I'm running late for a meeting," he said, reaching for his umbrella and coat. "Thank you again, Emma. For the seat, and the company." She smiled, "It was nice talking to you. Good luck with your meeting." He nodded, nearly forgetting his umbrella before grabbing it at the last second, and then disappeared into the street. Emma took a final sip of her cold coffee, gathering her things to leave. As she moved her laptop, she noticed a small cream-colored envelope tucked beneath it. It wasn't hers. No name, no markings, just folded neatly and left behind. Thinking it was a forgotten receipt or maybe a note, she opened it out of simple curiosity. Inside was a short, handwritten message on fine paper. "Thank you for your kindness. You reminded me of the goodness in people. Use this to chase your dream." Emma's brow furrowed. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded what was underneath, a check, crisp and official, her name written in perfect cursive. Amount, $50,000. Her heart skipped. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked around in stunned silence, as if expecting Michael to reappear. But he was gone. Just a man who shared a muffin, and then left behind a life-changing gift. Tears welled in her eyes as the weight of the moment sank in. She hadn't just given up a seat. She'd opened a door. That night, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, the check resting beside her like something out of a dream. She had turned it over in her hands a dozen times, still unsure if it was even real. The signature read Michael Blake, his handwriting unmistakable. Curiosity overtook her. She opened her laptop and typed his name into the search bar. Michael Blake. The results loaded instantly. Her eyes widened. Founder and CEO of BrightMind, a tech education startup that had exploded across the country, offering coding classes and mentorship to underserved schools. Multiple awards. News articles. TED Talks. A Forbes feature. Widowed. Father of one. Known for random acts of generosity. Quiet, anonymous donations to students, young mothers, struggling teachers. Emma's heart pounded. She scrolled through an image of him shaking hands at a charity gala. Same eyes. Same soft smile. It was him. She brought her hand to her mouth, overwhelmed by the truth. The man with the wrinkled coat and rain-soaked umbrella wasn't just kind. He was Michael Blake. A millionaire. A single father. A man who could have had a private table anywhere, but chose to sit beside her. Listen to her. Believe in her. Emma sat back, stunned and breathless. He saw her, not as someone struggling, but as someone worth investing in. And that changed everything. Sunlight streamed through the windows of a cheerful classroom, where laughter echoed and crayons rolled across desks. Colorful posters lined the walls, and little voices called out answers with bright enthusiasm. At the front of the room stood Emma, no longer a tired grad student, but a full-fledged teacher in her very own classroom. A dream once buried beneath bills and exhaustion had become her everyday reality. She looked out at her students, each one full of potential, curiosity, and hope. Her eyes drifted to her desk, where a simple photograph sat in a silver frame, an image of a cozy café corner, two strangers sharing a table. Next to it, a faded yellow sticky note with 5 handwritten words. Never underestimate the impact of a simple act of kindness. Emma touched the note gently, her smile soft and full of memory. A lump rose in her throat. That rainy afternoon had given her far more than money. It had given her a reason to believe, in herself, in others, in the quiet magic of human connection. She turned back to her class, heart full, ready to pour into their lives the same belief someone once poured into hers. Because that one small moment, a muffin shared, a table offered, had led her here. Not just to a career, but to a purpose. And it all began with kindness.